So hi and welcome back, and I'm going to be doing another video on the three cameras I'm going to keep, because I've done one on the first three cameras I'm getting rid of, but I wanted to do the keepers as well. And I was quite surprised as into ones I wanted to keep, which I'll go into in the next video. But I've come out and it was meant to be about putting a 28mm classic 28mm lens on a modern camera, and then you suddenly realise you're using a crop sensor, so that 28mm now becomes a 45mm. So it's kind of like a 28mm stroke 45mm. How well does it work on a modern camera, and could it be used for things like filming and stuff like that? Well, being at 45mm, it's actually a really good focal length for doing interviews. So I'm just out and about taking a few shots with it. Go home. I may do some film footage like talking to the camera with me, but because of the fact I'm actually moving, I've packed most of my equipment, so I haven't got my monitor, so I can't really monitor what I'm seeing. So we'll just have to see what happens. But anyway, hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Okay, so I'm back home and I've looked at the photographs I've taken already, and I've noticed something with this lens. This is the Olympus 28mm f3.5 lens, and it overfocuses. So when you focus to infinity, if you take it right to the end, it goes out of focus. So I'm going to go out and take a few more shots. So I've not done that yet. I'm going to take some more shots with it set to infinity but not taken right to the end, to see if there's a difference, or is it just an issue with this particular lens. Okay, I want to first address this focusing issue that I mentioned earlier in the video about the focusing to infinite distance as being out of focus, and I am correct in that. I just want to go through some are more obvious than in this one, but you can, if you zoom in, you can see how out of focus that is, and then you go to the next one. And this is difficult to tell. It wasn't the best of shots, but the ones you see going further down, like this one here, okay, look how out of focus that is. And I suddenly discovered what it was. I think it's the mount that I put the lens on to go on the Sony camera. I'm absolutely certain that's what the problem is. I don't think it's anything to do with the lens whatsoever. It's the way the mount works and how good that mount is, and I think that's what the problem is. I don't think it's anything to do with the lens. So when you go to the next one, look what happens. And all I've done is I've pulled it back from infinite distance to, I think it was between 3 meters and infinite distance, if just to say, and these are the results I'm getting, and I've got a few more to show you as well. So if we go through these, and before I go on to the main one, you can see from there that that's out of focus. And there's no focus point across the whole area of the image whatsoever. Okay, but when you go to the next one, look at that. It's a lot sharper. It's not the sharpest. I mean, these were all shot at f8 anyway, but these, you know, as I say, it gives you an idea of what this problem was and what I was seeing. And again, if we look at the building and the distance, you can just see, and that's not good, is it? But when you see it, when it's been corrected, when I've changed the focal length slightly, I get a much better result, although it's not perfect. Remember, I'm actually zooming in a phenomenal amount of distance to bring that up like that. So yeah, anyway, let's go on with looking at some of the other photographs I've done. So I wanted to do a few close up and a few at a distance, and I just want to show you a few of them. I'm thinking this video might get quite long, so I'm just going to show you a few individual shots. And so there's this one and this one. Now this one was taken at 3.5 and this one was taken at f8. and that's pretty much the only difference between the two, and you can see how much sharper this image is over the other image. But I wanted to show you a shot of when I absolutely nailed the focus, and you'll be surprised just how good this is. Isn't that spectacular? And then you think about it and you think, oh yeah, that is really, really sharp, but look, that's really zoomed in. So you can see just by getting that, the focus spot on, just how sharp this lens, this is 28mm, it's a vintage 28mm lens on a crop sensor camera. So it's doing things it shouldn't be doing. And you can get these most amazing results with it. So there were a few that I took that were really, really good. Others I've taken that are not so good, and I'll just show you a few more of those. And this is what happens when you think you've nailed the focus and you haven't. So when you zoom in, it's soft. I don't know if I've got focus to the, no I didn't. So you just see how difficult this is when you're working with a vintage lens on a modern camera. And this particular camera wouldn't let me do focus in assist. It wouldn't let me zoom with the focus assist. I think my other camera does, but I don't think this one does with these vintage lenses. And again, this one of the Swan, this was a swimming past me and I had to kind of guess the focal distance, and look how sharp it is. Again, this is zoomed in, so you can see actually it was quite close, but still to actually get that sharp a shot is just absolutely amazing. I'm really impressed with it. In fact, I'm really impressed with the filming as well, which I'm going to come back onto now. Now, I'm using this lens to film with as well, and it is difficult, but I think when you get now the focus in, it is a really, really nice sharp lens. Now, bearing in mind, this is on a crop sensor, so it's kind of acting like a 45-50mm lens on the actual camera itself. So, would I use it? Well, I don't see why I wouldn't. I mean, having looked at it in 4K on my 4K monitor, it looks great. I mean, I've never, do you know what, I've never had anyone say to me, oh, that lens doesn't look very sharp, when I've been out filming before. Whenever I've done anything at all. I've been told stuff's out of focus, which it was, but I've not been told, oh, that lens is really, really, really soft. And I think we get this pomposity about lenses and about how, you know, this sharp and so on and so forth. I mean, obviously you're going to have issues with old lenses like this. One of the problems I did find with it, I've had to close my blinds because I was getting flaring if I pointed it just slightly towards where the blinds are. Now the room is lit. I've got my actual ordinary lights on, they're diffused. Plus I've got one studio light pointing. You can probably see the shadow from it where my hand is now. So it's quite a strong light. So would I use it? Yeah, it's difficult for one person to use like this because I had to focus the camera and then take the memory card out, put it into the computer. When I got it, it's actually filming in 4K, and remember it's a crop sensor, so it's acting like a 50mm lens. And I put it on, and it looks fantastic to me. It's probably not as sharp as other lenses, but I don't have people moaning about the lens being sharp. I have people saying when something's out of focus when it genuinely is. So I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I closed the blinds, and I've got one studio light with my house lights on as well. So it's currently shooting at 1600 ISO at f5.6 at 1/50th of a second, 25 frames. So 25 frames a second, 1/50th of a second, and 1600 ISO. So that'll give you an idea of how it's actually working. So if I was to open that up fully and do another shot, you're probably gonna get a lot of softness. So what I'm gonna do now is to quickly change the settings so you can see it fully opened at 3.5. Okay, so this is at 3.5 now. So I've just opened up. It's only one stop difference. The other issue, obviously, with this lens, I think there's two in the OM range. There's a 2.8 and a 3.5. This would have been the cheaper one of the two, I believe, at 3.5. But it works well for me. Now, bearing in mind, if you do open it up a bit more, you are going to get more softness. Because of the age of the lenses, I'm not, you know, I can't almost contradict myself about saying about the actual the quality of lenses, but that's how it is with the older style lenses, and you've got to take that pick. And I said I would use this lens to do filming with if I had the right situation for it. But I've actually got other lenses that are more suitable for like doing what I'm doing here. And the actual camera it's on, I forgot to mention that, is a Sony A6700. So normally that has the whole, eye tracking and all that sort of thing. It has none of that with this whatsoever. So that's kind of, it's very, very different. And I tend to manual focus anyway, because if I move backwards and forwards and you get the tracking, you can get focus breathing with the lenses. So that's another kind of issue with the modern lenses anyway.